So a few weeks back when I did the speedrun every skill is to max level run, I repeatedly called Illusion the most forgettable skill in the game, and a lot of people really called me out on that. I stand corrected. Illusion isn't the worst skill in the game. That honor would go to Speech, but it is definitely bottom 4. But because I tend to be my own worst troll, y'all don't need to make fun of my voice, I figured I should make myself use a skill of magic I never seem to use, as today we will attempt to beat Skyrim with only illusion magic. So what does illusion magic entail? Mostly things that manipulate the state of others, whether it be cowering in fear or making yourself invisible, and it can be good with the right build. Sadly, there are ways to supplement the fun stuff. Boots with muffle or invisibility potion, anyone? Well, as for the rules of the run, the only magic I am allowing myself to use is the illusion branch of magic and nothing else, and this does include restoration, and for the most part this is going to be a pacifist playthrough. Well, I say that, but this is me we are talking about. I once killed everyone in Skyrim with healing spells. As for other rules, I am allowing myself the occasional companion, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get past Alduin, and plus one of the major things about illusion is buffing your allies, so I will allow it today. And also no major glitches in the sword. And as for the bonus objectives, today I figured I could go ahead and complete the Master Illusion quest, since I already did that in a restoration focused run. I did run this as a poll versus another already completed run, and this run was the winner. Don't worry, the other run will be out relatively soon. Well, with all that out of the way, let's get started. So in building my character, I am going with the High Elf today because for one, they start with more magicka, and two, they start with an illusion spell right off the bat. Well, that makes my life easier. Though I could have started with the Imperial because they have the voice of the Emperor, which casts a massive calm spell affecting humans with a radius of a master level spell, lasts as long as route, and affects anyone up to level 99, which is basically everyone except for 2 people. Sure, it is once a day, but one racial power obsoletes a fourth of the entire school of magic. Or you could go with the Wood Elf to pacify wildlife, but that isn't that useful. Or there is the Nord variant who has Battle Cry, which gives the fear status up to level 99. Also in designing my character, I really was not paying any attention, just sliding the sliders in whatever direction I fancied. I then named myself after life's greatest illusion, and almost left this illusion known as virtual reality before being saved by the moderators. Well, it is the introduction, so a bunch of running without a lot of gunning, and I'm indoors with roll-off. No particular reason other than testing out the Fury spell. No, not furry. It is something. You can still be targeted by a Furied opponent, but at least it adds to the chaos a little bit. The rest of the intro plays out as it normally does, just with slightly more turncoat than usual, and it is pretty funny watching friends turn into foes. Well, I got my mage attire to help out with my magic for the time being, then I ran the rest of the way out. Okay, I did have spiders attempt to skip to the end of the mating ritual and eat one another. Eventually I am outside in the fresh air, something a nerd emoji like me hates, and I let bandits have at each other, leaving one alive to live with a guilty conscience. I then ran past Riverwood taking what supplies I can, and I was nearly gored by a buck. Also during my travels, I furied a prisoner to attempt to break free from his captors. Didn't go very well for him. While continuing my early game routine, I began to scoop the litter boxes of any valuable loot that might help me, mostly just potions and enchantments to break down. Never found any illusion-based robes during the excursion. Oh well. While I was in Solitude, I did use Fury on the headsman here, and sadly he bit the dust. Also, the guards weren't really too keen on my actions, and I think Rodveer escaped. You know, this does give me an evil idea down the road. Once I was done with my divings, I unenchanted some stuff and leveling up in the process, then finally entering Whiterun. I have been playing the story pretty closely, so I guess I could do things normally, and talking to Balgriff about flying dinosaurs, then purchasing some spells from Farengar, namely some Robes of Illusion, along with Muffle and a few other illusion spells. Well, since I do need a power level illusion, I began muffling myself for a while, spamming magic while being that one weirdo at the bar just looking at everyone in a creepy way. Once I hit illusion 40, I thought it would be a good time to start Bleak Falls Barrow, since you can clear out the place as a pacifist. I persuaded a bandit to throw themselves into the tower and settling their differences there, and I booked it inside the dungeon. The first bandit group, I got them into a flame war, and I chased the victor off. The rest of the first part wasn't too much to write home about. I didn't have to worry about the frostbite spider. It was too instilled with arachnophobia to fight back. The Draugr portion is where things got interesting, mostly trying to lure Draugr into the trap cards. These Draugr have been asleep for thousands of years, so their concept of timing is a little off. I was able to sneak past the sleeping Draugr part pretty easily thanks to muffling my footsteps, or if I forgot my tap shoes at home, who knows. The rest of the first section goes by alright, kind of fun trying to sneak past the final Draugr in the first zone, but this is coming from an assassin-based character. As for the second portion, I utilized the environment to great effect. The Draugr are living in a slice-of-life anime now, and I am before long at the end with the Overlord. I have no ways to fight the Overlord, so I have to carefully lure it back to the blade traps. With a simple slice and dice, my meal is cut into bite-sized portions so I don't have to eat like a cramorant, and I'm back in Whiterun. And since I was in town, I decided to power level my illusion up to 50, getting me a few more perks like quiet casting, which for non-illusion based characters is as far as you really need to go. And also there's a dragon attack, but who cares. I then spent the night doing a pub crawl leveling my illusion once again to get access to the really good spells here in a little bit, and I spent some time trying to get a fortify illusion item to add to my clothing, since not every dungeon is going to have a conveniently placed trap to solve my problems. After more leveling both illusion and enchanting, I put on some upgrades and traveled to the watchtower. I can't do jack all against the dragon, so I'd be the cheerleader of the group, spouting easily tune-outable "you can do it" while taking all the credit. There wasn't much to write home about with the battle. Once everyone was buffed up, I spent the rest of the battle leveling up my illusion, because what else am I supposed to do? Back at Dragon's Reach, I relay the information, and I figure I could use some help with the upcoming adventures. The battles are going to be fraught with danger, so I'll be only needing the best of the best. Welcome to the team, Sven. Before continuing with the main story, I figured I could upgrade my gears and spells, so I went to the only other mage I know of. It was kinda awkward at court, mostly with me constantly playing around with my feet. I was able to buy an upgrade for my attire, along with some upgraded illusion spells. Now that my level is significantly higher, finally the build is starting to get somewhere. Well, since it couldn't hurt, I traveled to Winterhold, and after save loading the test at the entrance, I could finally enter the college and get the high tier spells. I was kinda nervous for a second I would have to hold up a war with Tolfdir since I thought he was a master of illusion. Nope, just the second most forgettable school of magic. I dipped out of his lesson and wasting my college tuition on partying at the local frat houses, that being Jarvis's house. I was able to round out the rest of my spell pool, adding the expert level spells and the frankly useless Creation Club spells. For once, they aren't stupidly overpowered. Well, I guess time to start climbing to the throat of the world. Because I'm feeling like breaking this illusion of reality, I stole a horse. As long as no one sees me getting on a horse, I don't get a bounty, even if I am riding said horse. I then proceed to climb up 90-degree surfaces to the 7,000 steps that in reality is way less than that, and with the route spell, I proceeded to bully the Frostful, chasing it around the mountainside. Who's the little bitch now? Well, I do what most disrespectful youngsters do these days and play around on my phone as my elders lecture me on stuff I don't really give a about. Sven sure got an earful from me in the process. By the time I was done with the blabberings, I gained 5 levels, hitting level 90 in illusion, so now my spells can work against undead and Dwemer stuff. Now I can actually do something to the other half of the game. Since I am content with my level, at least for the time being, I wanted to get the Lordstone to help compensate for my lack of protection. While I was in Donstar, I thought I would have to deal with the dragon attack, but seems we are not worthy of its time, and it just bailed out of there. On my way to the stones, I decided to test out my stuff at the giant's camp nearby. Well, the giant went down easily enough, but there wasn't enough chaos for my liking. At least I did find a disco ball in a stump. Something that does concern me for upcoming battles is that Sven is going down pretty frequently, so when dealing with, say, Alduin, things might get dicey. At this point, I do like to partake in the pillaging of the Stendars, but because the dumb vigilants built their base next to a vampire's den, they made for a really nice treat. At least I got a few potions for my troubles. I don't know, maybe in an upcoming run I can finally do a good ransacking of the vigilants. Well, they have gotten away with the simple act of living for far too many runs in a row now. Well, I climbed up my steps and I incited the intrusive thoughts in the bandits' head, causing them to fight over the lack of Pokemon cards that is just a resale without anything good inside, because all the scalpers picked everything apart. At least I now have defense to my name. Well, since I am nearby Usengrav, I figure I could go ahead and clear out that dungeon, and there really wasn't much on the way there, well, besides having the bandits turn on their master. Quiet casting is quite fun indeed, in creating a little bit of chaos. The chaos is carried inside as I continue to confuse the whole friend-foe alignment. Lawful evil has no hope of standing up to my chaotic evil nature. The rest of Usengrav really wasn't much to write home about. I do a small skip to skip a good chunk of the dungeon, and grab my dip out of reality spell, which will be very beneficial to future shenanigans. While I instilled a spider with so much fear it would rather stand on a fire trap and be roasted alive. Must have seen our timeline. Well, I find a horn in my imagination, and I left Usengrav to return to Riverwood. Well, the cultists were in town, so I thought a little chaos couldn't hurt. I fired a fury spell, and caused everyone in town to turn on themselves, and I got on the rooftop to watch the carnage unfold. Sadly, during the process, Sven died, so yeah, there goes that backup. It was quite a spectacle to behold, and eventually the guards came out on top. But yeah, everyone is not happy with the whole everyone's fate will vanish once I'm done viewing this reality, and they will be reset in the next eternal recurrence, ignorant of their past lives, and they will unwittingly vary very little from their predestined state of being an NPC. Okay, Delphine hated me getting philosophical there and tries to pummel me in. Thankfully, the one good use of illusion for non-self-based characters is to calm people down when you accidentally piss them off. I got the information from Delphine, had a reminder that I am the main character, or at least my ego tells me so, and we're off to fight a dragon. I didn't feel like getting another companion, so I'm gonna do things the old-fashioned way. Also, Sven gave me an inheritance of 300 gold. Sadly, that is more than what I have in my bank account right now. As for Salakanir, I have a recently created plan of attack in case I need to fight Salakanir as a pacifist. After this run, I need to slightly revise said plan. Make sure it is daytime. I normally lure Salakanir into the orc stronghold nearby, and today everyone was sound asleep, except for one guard who was unfortunate enough to guard the entrance. Because she lacks plot armor, she became worm food. I also had a wolf somehow climb the mountain and ambush me at the mine. Well, these orcs really need to upgrade their defenses. I was able to easily hop the fence. I then tried to enter the longhouse to bring everyone out to me, but nope, they wanted to kill me instead because I'm a trespasser. It's not my fault your fences are a meter high. Well, because I'm the bigger threat, I just have to do things the old-fashioned way. Be a bard while Delphine does all the work. Thankfully, one of the orcs did chase me down and was firing at the dragon, and helping taking it down. Eventually we come out on top, I pay my pitiful 5 gold fine, and get the keys to Delphine's dungeon. Well, because the Thalmor Embassy is next, I figured some more prep work is in order, mostly involving mastering the art of these are not the droids you're looking for. Since my illusion is 90, I thought I could do the Master Illusion quest, but because Bethesda codes meet minimum functionality requirements, I can't start the illusion quest until I'm at 100, so that shouldn't take too long thankfully. I just go to the Solitude Barracks and cheer everyone on in their sleep with the rally exploit I did in the 100 skill run without anyone wanting a piece of me. After a couple minutes, I have mastered the art of illusion, which happens to be choice, and also I get training to get enchanting to 50 to get another upgrade on my gear. I then talk to Drevis to start the illusion quest and getting an upgrade on my robes, so now I am rather adept at misery. Thankfully this quest is very straightforward, albeit tedious. Just use the spell constantly around the college to find 4 books. With the wiki, it is very easy to do. One set of books is upstairs in the teacher's house on a barrel, the second one is in the student hall underneath a bench on the second floor, the third one is in the library on the northwest side on the outer circle, and the final one is in the mid next to the Atronach Forge. The last one's a little annoying to get. On the way out, I was quite distracted by a wheel spinning in motion. Gotta love my small brain getting entertained on simple things. Eventually I'm back with Drevis and I can hand in the quest and purchase some master level illusion spells. One of them is Mass Hysteria. Oh, all the fun I'm going to have with this. I then travel to Solitude and start the Thalmor Embassy, and given I have a tool for mass carnage, I thought I could have a little fun. I cast Mayhem, and everyone in the streets erupt into an all-out brawl. Everyone's killing each other, and once in a while I refresh the chaos. Yeah, the bodies just pile up in the streets, and a part of me wishes I had everyone a non-essential in a pure battle royale. I think half the town is dead from that. Even people in the residential districts were also caught up in the mayhem. Well, since I don't want any troubles getting into the embassy, I calmed the guards and paid my fine, 40 gold. Causing a mass attack on everyone's minds, inciting a massive brawl, resulting in half the town dead, and stealing a horse is considered a worse crime. I swear. Well, you can't have an Orpheolus run without at least one settlement wiped off the map. Well, I guess time to continue the story the proper way. I dumped my load onto Melbourne, rode off to the embassy, played around with the set pieces, and then began the grand stealth mission. Since I have invisibility and muffle, I thought I could play this as a stealth mission, and not a kill everything as I tend to do mission. Honestly, the invisibility is serving me way better than it has in the past. I have used invisibility before and got detected instantly, but then again also, I'm using muffle this time, which is probably how you're supposed to use invisibility. Since here I am in my element, just without the killing part, I am able to sneak around efficiently and almost complete the entire mission undetected. Just grabbing Esbern's note caused me to be detected. I was able to pick a key off a guard, bump into a guard on the way out, and eventually make my way out of the embassy, and in quick fashion too. Only took about 3 minutes total. Continuing along with the main story, I figure Riften is next, and since I'm in town, I could take care of Grelod. It is a tradition at this point. And yeah, Grelod is justified on why everyone wants her dead. I'll lure her outside, and justice was dispensed. Well, the center of the market makes for a fine point to fire off a mass mayhem, and the brawl in the streets was just so sweet, until everyone wanted my head for causing a mass riot. Yeah, the brawl was definitely messy. Eventually, to lose everyone's interest since I can't pay off my bounty, I just dipped right into the ratways. Because I like to make trouble, I had the first 2 bandits settle their differences, and I used the distraction to slip through the rest of the ratways undetected. I also proceed to steal everything in front of a lowlife, with him none the wiser. I snuck my way to Esbern, and brought him along my wild game of trust nobody. He does make for a fine distraction. I will say the invisibility is doing quite a fine job, but with it being an expert level spell, it does take a while to get to without exploits. In the past, if I need invisibility, I would just make a potion that breaks upon interacting with anything, and the ingredients are very simple: a Luna Mothwing and vampire dust, and also it does a regen on the side too. Or it could just be a stealth archer and kill everything from afar. Well, Esbern gives here his just desserts, and we're back in Riverwood reuniting the grumpy couple. Well, it has been for a bit. I figure Markarth could use a little brawl. I do my opener of going into a crowded place, tell them pineapple is the only viable topping on pizza, and now everyone wants each other dead. So, Twitter. I make laps around the city to spread the in-love, and yeah, everyone was kinda sick of my games. Once the Fury spell wore off, I went to inspect the bodies, and Eltress said a woman was attacked in the streets. Take a f***ing look around you! I think there are more pressing matters at hand. That might have been caused by me, but who cares? I think this has been my bloodiest Fury storm yet. There really wasn't much to note heading into Karspire, well, besides having some Redguards fight to the death over the concept of honor, but because I have followers, they don't play fair, so their data was deleted. I then snuck into Karspire, just hanging out in the middle invisibly, while the Forsworn fought the dragon. Well, a little chaos couldn't hurt, so everyone was for themselves. Except there was a dragon on top of it all. I got bored of the nonsense, and ducked inside the dungeon. Since the High Elves are the tallest race, I could do their exclusive skip, so I don't have to use any of my lack of brain power to do a couple of easy puzzles. Inside Skyhaven Temple, I made sure to grab the Blade's attire and Dragonsbane so I can give it to a companion so that way they can deal with Alduin for me. Well, next up is grabbing the Elder Scroll, and I return to college to haze myself into falling to my death. Thankfully, I made myself an illusion, and I can get away scot-free. I cross the icebergs and have a lovely conversation with myself, from one nerd emoji to another. Well, because I like to change things up, and to give myself the illusion a choice, instead of doing Aftan, I thought today, I will head to the Elder Scroll in a dungeon that I don't think anyone has ever done before. I thought the dungeon we should dive through today, Mizinshalef. Now I'd be doing so, completely undetected. While on the outside, I just let loose some fury spells to give the host quite a party and then entered inside. Because invisibility just cheeses stealth, along with muffle, I could be the master thief and do the entire excursion undetected. Eventually, the bandits transitioned into Dwemer, so I just snuck by the entire chaos. Overall, the first section is the most claustrophobic, and as a fun Orph fact, this was the very first Dwemer dungeon I had ever done on my first playthrough, and I died so many times here on my first playthrough because level 5 is not a good level to tackle Dwemer dungeons as a novice. The second part opens up to a somewhat beautiful vista, and it just makes stealth all the more liberating. I don't think I need invisibility because of Falmer or Blind, but I'm not taking any chances. I did get a little lost towards the end. I forgot where the gate was and everything, and I spent a while searching for it. Eventually I finished my little dive, entered the boss room with the Centurion, and just avoided everything in the room and entered Blackreach. Here I am spat out close to my destination, so it was a brief hike to put my brain to its absolute limit, pressing buttons until I get the Holy Scripture written by Todd Howard himself. I then returned to the Greybeards and got an earful for playing on my phone during family time, and got the ability to yell at clouds so I can embrace my inner Abe Simpson. I didn't really feel like fighting on my way up, so I told the Ice Race to chill out, and I made it to the summit and yelled at a dragon with my hot takes. Like illusion is the worst branch of magic in Skyrim, which I am now actually second guessing myself somewhat. Before opening the gates to hell, I figured I could get some help, so I went to Windhelm and got Stenvar to help me. He was the first melee merc I could think of, in a town I haven't burned to the ground yet. I returned to Peak Fiction in probably one dev's mind, opened the roll, and had a vision in the past, but the dream must have had a glitch in the Matrix. The battle with Alduin today was rather interesting, mostly because Stenvar has to do all the heavy lifting. I opened the fight with a call to arms so Stenvar gets a buff, and I thought I could rally party snacks in my cause, but because the lizard is a self-centered ass, because he has the power of Nintendo ninjas on his side, he ignores my call. I just kept Alduin pinned down, and at one point Stenvar proposes to the dragon. Well, at least Stenvar is protected from many scams, but I do have to distract Alduin for a bit until Stenvar can get back up. I did have a few healing potions, and I could make it through the fight alright. It took about 5 minutes all in all. Not the worst Alduin fight I've had, but for a moment I was afraid I would have to embrace the dragon so the fireballs could hit it. I do not remember my ebony male Alduin fight very fondly. So you know what that means. Time to make sure the children behave so I can call a dragon into a heavily populated city. But because I felt this is a soft kill 'em all run, I thought I could wipe some more towns off the map. Starting up with Falkreath, some hired thugs tried to teach me a lesson. I don't believe in learning the error of my evil ways, so I made everyone in town attack each other. The town is always into the dead jokes, so I figured they could live up to the dark humor. it is really all I have going for me, that and self-deprecation up the wazoo. Once I had my fill of chaos, I calmed the guards down, and they want me to talk to a lot about a stray dog. Sure, let me talk to him. Oh. I also checked the thug's body and seems the contract was from a lowlife. I know I see myself as a lowlife with my self-deprecation, but that's just mean. I then paid Dawnstar a visit, and trying to make my brain less of a perfect sphere, I used my silent casting to cause chaos from afar. At this point, I was kinda getting over the whole everyone in town killing each other thing, and there weren't that many bodies during this brawl. Okay, there were a few, and now there are more job openings in the mines. And honestly, for how much of a pain to society I am, I never end up with anything more than a couple hundred gold for my bounties. As a side note, I never bothered with Winterhold or Morthal this run. I honestly forgot those two towns exist. I then brought along Tullius to the Peace Council, and I kinda lied about being bored with the chaos. I brought the party to Windhelm next, and suffice to say, this one was one of the most chaotic ones. Same party starter replies as usual, I go to a crowded forum, yell at that Pokemon Scarlet is a better game than Heart Gold, and then watch the fireworks. Yeah, if there is any one group that can get really heated, it's Pokemon fans. I got everyone bunched up on some stairs, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. By the time I was done, only the essential NPCs were left, and the town was basically nothing but corpses. And it was quite the mess indeed. I don't even think Calyxo could match up to this. I also snorted at what one NPC said. Sure, everyone in the palace was not too pleased about my antics, but I think the concussion on the wall was very much deserved. But at least Ulfric could listen to my raisins, and everyone joined up for the Peace Council. Yep, a totally peaceful council in every shape and form. Though I think the letter was spelled with an IE instead of an EA. Well, I got my ride share's number, and we rode off center towards Godolphin. Well, I am in the mood for some stealth, so I decided to sneak my way inside, and told Alduin that his entire army didn't see me coming. Honestly, I am surprised the dragons didn't see me coming with their 1000 perception and all. Also, jumping while sneaking is faster than just duck walking. I did have to play things a little cautiously in the first puzzle room, but at least I got by unscathed. The first tricky part besides waiting for one drugger to get out of the way is dealing with the spiders. But at least it is mating season, so I can get them to attack each other. The one did get in the doorway, so it's rather annoying to sneak around. Thanks for smooth sailing through the second portion. I wanted to make sure nobody was killed because I will need everyone alive and the traps in one piece, and that is because of the drugger White Lord at the end. I had to lure the Lord through the earlier rooms using traps and other drugger to knock it down. It got a little dicey because the Lord would not want to step through and just backtrack. I was able to get a couple to go at it at the base. It would not want to cooperate, and at one point I was down to one potion, and I still have Soon and Alduin to get through. But by some miracle, the enemies could do their job, land the killing blow, and I'm able to get the Dragon Claw from the corpse, all without attacking anyone. I was then able to open the puzzle door and made a beeline to Sovngarde. The Dragon Priest is immune to illusion spells. Well, he's too high leveled for them to affect him, and plus I am out of supplies, so I just go right to heaven. I have one final hurdle to clear, and that being Soon. My plan was to lure Soon to the various NPCs here and have the NPCs kill Soon. Yeah, getting cleaved into really does not instill much confidence. Soon is just that powerful, or everyone is just that weak, who knows. Well, it seems you can't beat Skyrim with illusion spells. Well, you obviously can't thanks to Alduin too, but oh well. My next plan was to push Soon off a waterfall with unrelenting force, but because the devs have some foresight, Soon only gets staggered by the force. But that wasn't going to work for me. I decided to bite the bullet and take advantage of faulty AI and scorch Soon to a crit so he lets me across. I then grabbed my final party and told the fog to piss off. I had to think for a second and the fog cleared away in a very weird fashion. Once Alduin was ready to play, I rallied the peasants, and while they did do some work, I was trying to lead the fireballs to Meathead so he can carry the fight. Yeah, with my crew, Alduin really couldn't handle the onslaught. Well, Alduin is in his death animation, so I threw all the spells I had at it, from pacifism to fear and everything else, but no illusion spells do any damage, so nothing can land the final blow. I brought out my fist, punched Alduin on the snoot, get a killer concussion as punishment, and proving you cannot beat Skyrim with only illusion. Well, that was a pretty fun run, I think mostly because I do sort of like trying pacifist Skyrim challenges. Well, as we were wrapping up, I let loose one final small brawl, and I was kinda stuck in place for a long while as everyone settled their differences. Anyways, for my thoughts on the run, I had some fun. I will say illusion is better than I thought it would be, but I still think it is one of the weaker magic trees. Well, one is general healing, one is magic damage, and one summons demons and gives you frankly overpowered conjured weapons. All that remains is illusion and alteration, and I do think illusion is actually better than alteration, but it all depends on playstyle. Both branches are very niche and have easy to get alternatives. Potion and a pair of boots from the Dark Brotherhood obsoletes illusion, and the Lord Stone Aura Whisper and Paralysis Potions make Alteration redundant. I don't know, I might do a run with just Alteration someday, I don't know. But the stuff you can do with Illusion is just hilarious, and it is good for a good laugh. See every major hold in Shambles for a few septims cost. I also enjoyed just playing a stealth build, and I felt more in my environment this way. As for what's to come, it won't be the Mamcar Cameron run next. I have a Fallout 4 run that should be hopefully to die for. Stay tuned for that. Well, if you enjoyed the run, be sure to give a like, subscribe for more masochism, and any other ways to torture myself, leave them down below. This has been Orpheolus, and I'll see you on the next one.